we have to understand that we're not each other's enemy. We have to stop discriminating against each other due to class and due to race and due to location or financial, position. We have to say, wow, that is the best version. Let's use it. Let's bring it to light. Let's move forward. Let's push forward as a civilization.
Greetings, controversial music figures. This is Poetry Taught Poorly. If you're gonna talk about rap history, you cannot leave out Kanye West. And if you're gonna talk about Vietnamese poetry, you cannot leave out Linh Dinh. The musician formerly known as Kanye West, and the self-proclaimed poet of the downtrodden and globe-trotting, Linh Dinh, are both artistic figures that surprisingly have similar career trajectories, in all ways good, and unfortunately in all the ways that are horrifically bad. With Linh Dinh speaking for both of them when he says,
most people don't want to touch me now.
Well, I'm gonna touch them. In fact, I'm gonna touch them all over. So here's all the ways that their career trajectories has unfortunately been the same. Both were artists and painters before becoming college art school dropouts. Both are beyond well-traveled. Both have made forays into the political. Both had numerous friends within their respective fields. And sadly, both have gone down the conspiracist and alt-right rabbit hole, leaving reality altogether. Like Kanye, who was able to get concerts literally booked anywhere in the globe, Linh Dinh would be invited to give readings and have interviews almost everywhere. Linh Dinh was so in demand that this was how some publications treated him.
There was his website in Australia that would print my poems almost as soon as I send them to, so I get up at 7, finish a poem by 9, and see it up by 10, so I could.
But now, Linh Dinh can only give readings in dirty apartments or in front of trash heaps. And from everyone wanting to interview him, now only the occasional adolescent dares even talk to him.
How old are you, man? How old are you, Amos?
15.
How old?
16.
15, you say? Oh, shit. But I was canceled in the USA, you understand? I used to be invited to teach, man. But I used to be invited to teach in all these different places because, people like me until I start talking too much, you understand? So politically, I've got myself in deep shit, but I don't give a fuck, man. I value my freedom, you understand? I value the ability to say whatever the hell I want to. I had 2 main publishers, and they dropped me, and I lost most of my literary friends, all right? And, listen, man, I was supposed to have my collected poems published. Before people had issues with my politics, I was anthologized, man. I was known primarily as a poet, not as an essay writer, not as a travel writer, but as a poet, all right? My poems were anthologized and were taught in colleges, all right? So I was supposed to have my collected poems published.
My collected poems were supposed to be called Blue Threads to the Soul, and it was about to go to the printer, but Chax Press canceled it. They can do whatever they want, so I don't have a collected poems. I don't have any poems. Well, fuck it.
He's so Kanye.
Now, Kanye West and Linh Dinh may not only be united by unfortunate political beliefs and artistically having success and similar life experiences, but more important is that they share a similar artistic and philosophical belief, or concept like Kanye likes to put it, because it's not pretentious. They both have a disdain for media representation and decry these systems while ultimately realizing that they are unable to fully escape it or subvert it. Linh Dinh articulates this as the tyranny of the image.
The thousands and thousands of images that are fed to lower the kids' superpower and esteem so that they can be more susceptible to consumption.
Yeah, you write at one point, like television, the private automobile was invented to wean us off our own humanity. From each, we've learned how to amp up our impatience and indifference towards everything and with life itself. Anything that's seen through a screen or windshield becomes ephemera, with its death nearly instant. You don't have to switch channels or run over it. It will disappear by itself. All screens and windshields have been erected to block us from intercourse.
You've talked about the same thing, about the tyranny of the image. People can be sitting across from each other and not see each other.
Lyndon describes image tyranny as looking at curated images on a screen that are superficial and easily passed over. Haphazardly scrolling through Instagram where you get news, comedy, political takes, and opinions. And he sees this as preventing us from truly engaging with each other and the authentic.
I walked through cities, unknown cities, without any clear idea where I was going. I moved through space with my own body. That's what we should mean by the real, just confront things without knowing what you're gonna get. I think we're moving so far away from that. People think they can just go to Morocco by watching a YouTube video of Morocco. The effort of just moving through space with your own body and meeting real people and looking them in the face, they're moving away from even staring each other in the face, becoming almost frightened of seeing a real human face, and they're moving away from reality all the time, and I think that's very damaging.
So what is Lyndon's crazy backstory for distrusting image? Lyndon's life seemed destined towards conspiracy, as he was born in the same year as the assassinations of JFK and Ngo Dinh Diem, leader of the country he would live in and the one he did live in. When Lyndon was born, the Vietnam War had entered its 8th year. He grew up in Saigon, a city deeply connected with language and at the time far and away from the front line of the war. His father was a colonel, lawyer, and local politician that made Lynn and his brother learn Chinese, English, and French. Lyndon had an incredibly happy and normal childhood, and things looked pretty good. But appearance may hide reality, as he soon realized when his mother abruptly left his father and him to marry another man. Before 1975, the war came to him only through the media. Opening a newspaper and you would see Vietcong corpses, turn on the radio and you would hear how the South was winning. In air-conditioned Saigonese theaters, they would show American movies of World War II, showing their strength and show war as a bloody, heroic, exciting, and well-shot affair, despite the extras' corpses piling up on screen. Saigonese could check out a fake war, while a real, killing war was raging only 80 miles away from the theater. There was a clear contrast in the reality that was presented to him and the reality that he saw firsthand. When Lyndon was only 11, Lyndon's uncle, Bao, a medic in the South Vietnamese Marines, was killed in combat and was buried. He was the most handsome member of Dinh's family, and he died unmarried. From there, reality continued to spiral forward and breach the illusion of safety and control. On April 8th of the final year of the Vietnam War, while he was in downtown Saigon, he saw a lone North Vietnamese plane bomb the presidential palace, one bomb hitting the terrace, another landing in the garden. On April 21st, he saw President Bigot coming on TV to curse the Americans before resigning. On the black and white TV, he saw the president wipe his tears. On the evening of April 27th, with a fake name and documents, his family boarded a C-130 plane and flew to Guam, fleeing the country that they thought was so safe and secure. However, despite the chaos and dispossession, Lyndon maintained a youthful excitement, an excitement of movement and encounter with the unknown that would stick with him then on.
So I had a very chaotic, very turbulent childhood. I mean, I had a nightmare of an upbringing. But I'm not going to hop on that, right? I mean, I survived it. It shaped me. It made me who I am.
After landing in the U.S., he would live in Washington, Oregon, California, and Virginia. He would move to Philly in 1982, where he described his formation as 1/2 fish sauce and 1/2 cheesesteak.
And I came to the United States when I was 11. And I went to art school. I wanted to be a painter. That didn't work out because I just didn't like college very much. So I dropped out of art school.
I always tell people college is a choice. High school is a necessity.
And I started to write. And I pretty much just taught myself. I just believe that if you want to be an artist or writer, you should just go at it, And
after dropping out of art school, he associated with people with hard lives. people who struggle day to day just to exist.
Even when things were relatively going well, these lives were very difficult, you know, because I was a house painter, I was a house cleaner. I worked with these people. I mean, it wasn't like an experiment. I mean, I had to do these jobs, and I could barely believe how difficult it was to get by
Just
day to day. Physically and mentally and spiritually. So it has only gotten harder because the anxiety and the stress of losing your job or not being able to perform your job daily is astounding. I would say it affects a majority of Americans right now.
He would continue to write until eventually catching his big break, and then success after success came, and a meteoric rise eventually led to him having his poem, The Most Beautiful Word, be anthologized in a collection of the best American poetry.
The most beautiful word. I think vesicle is the most beautiful word in the English language. He was lying face down, his shirt burnt off, back steaming. I myself was bleeding. There was a harvest of vesicles on his back, his body wept. Yaw may be the ugliest. Don't say the bullet yaw inside the body, say the bullet dance inside the body. Say the bullet tumble forward and upward. Light slanted down. All the lesser muscles in my face twitched. I flipped my man over gently like an impatient lover, careful not to fracture his C-spine. Dominoes clank under crusty skin, clack, clack. A collapsed face stared up. There was a pink spray in the air, then a brief rainbow. The mandible was stitched with blue threads to the soul. I extracted a tooth from the tongue. He had swallowed the rest.
Now, the poem's called The Most Beautiful Word, but you know what? Vesicle to me, it sounds ugly, medical, juicy, and not in the good kind of way. How can vesicle be beautiful? So when the speaker attempts to relay the death of this person, he denies confronting the cruel, brutal reality of the death. You know, saying the bullet danced in the body, it sounds kind of fun. Gaping hole in the head that swallows your teeth, kind of gross, kind of bad. There's a crisis of depiction within the narrator. What images should we be spreading, especially when we encounter tragedy and injustice? What is exaggeration and what is truth? Now here's Kanye's take on image tyranny.
It ain't that I feel like a slave. We are mentally enslaved. We enslaved to brands. We enslaved to like a Benz symbol. We enslaved to chains. A woman is enslaved to the concept of diamonds are a girl's best friend. Like girls in London don't even wear engagement ring. That's all been programmed into us. When we born artists. We born free, and then we held down by society's perception of us. We just don't want to be embarrassed.
So Kanye describes image tyranny as being enslaved to commercial representations of things. We buy certain things or act certain ways to fit in with popular conceptions. We do not think critically on these values and sort of just passively accept them.
So this is like a poem that's like a series of advertisements or something, or commercial. It's called Brand New Products. A vigilant gun that always picks out the right target, even if it's you, no matter who you're aiming at. A computer that listens and blows you as you blow it to your favorite tune. Meat that cleans your teeth as you masticating it. A truck so awesome only the President of the United States of America's allow to careen in it to his own beat. A dictionary with positive adjectives only. A dictionary with no wet verbs. A dictionary with negotiable definitions. A dictionary that defines words by the antonyms. All the greatest hits from the last millennium performed live on stage on the inside of your state-of-the-art acoustically enhanced skull. A complete set of nude photos of you taken by you and sold back to you at a discount. A sex doll with a mirror for a face. A sex doll with a PhD. A sex doll with adjustable skin tone. A sensitive sex doll that just wants to be friends. A platonic sex doll. Rainwater in a bottle, sunshine in a box, and ambient sounds from a bus stop down the street recorded on a CD. A 24-hour video of what you did yesterday. A 24-hour video of what you do tomorrow. A super realistic photo of what's outside your window pasted to your window. A baseball game that never ends, to be played simultaneously with a football game that never ends. Cluster bombs that scatter copies of leaves of grass over a 1,000-mile radius for 1,000 years. Landmines made with dough, topped with mozzarella and all your favorite toppings. An airplane that never lands. And finally, your favorite fairy tale painted on your new plastic limbs.
There's product here, and this is where you end up, right here. If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product. Because look at Gaga. She's the creative director of Polaroid. I like some of the Gaga songs. What the fuck does she know about cameras?
This poem's trying to sell you a bunch of stuff that is useless and we have easy access to. And if you see the language, you can see that there's a commodification of everything that's natural, everything that's sacred, and things that shouldn't be commodified. Like, imagine seeing every person as a sex doll, like a PhD student as a sex doll, platonic friend, sex doll. Think about how love has been commodified with online dating. Think about how even faith has been commodified with some prosperity gospel teachings. Everything has become commodified. And like, why do I need a picture of what's outside my window when I could just look out the window? Why do I need to buy my own nudes? I don't want to be the only fan to my only fans, you know what I'm saying? The image of the pepperoni pizza landmine and the plastic limbs, they connect to me. All this BS amputates us and leaves us incomplete and damaged.
Single black female addicted to retail. I said, fuck the police, that's how I treat them. We bought our way out of jail, but we can't buy freedom. See, we buy a lot of clothes, but we don't really need them. Things we buy to cover up what's inside, cause they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth.
We are sold a bunch of useless products and ideas that companies and salesmen will say whatever to get us to buy, even if it's an outright lie.
4x optical zoom. Schneider lens, photo printer, SD card. Look at that horse. The bushy tail, the big teeth, the hooves. Okay, my producer Tara Cates just told me this isn't a horse, it's a butterfly.
Both of these artists see that representation or image can have a negative effect on the development of us as people. This concept is not new, however. While Kanye West was making N-words in Paris, there was a philosopher in Paris who created the concept of hyperreality. This French philosopher in Paris being Jean Baudrillard.
Why do you think the song Niggas in Paris is called Niggas in Paris? Because niggas was in Paris.
Jean Baudrillard wrote a book called The Gulf War Did Not Take Place. It's like if I made a book and I called it The Ukraine War Did Not Take Place. So people were obviously like, what? Huh? Eh?
It's provocative. No, it's not. It gets the people going.
But this was what Jean Baudrillard was trying to prove. That the Gulf War was not really taking place because the public experiencing that war was so far removed from it, and that this connection created a hyper-reality in which the virtual world became more real to media consumers than anything in front of their faces, thus taking over truth. Furthermore, everything that the viewers could learn about the war was in the form of propaganda images. Media presentations closely watched, which made it impossible to distinguish between the experience of what actually happened in the conflict and its selective and stylized misrepresentations through simulations. So hyperreality is a state where the lines between reality and simulation blur, and it's almost impossible to tell what is real and what is not. Now here's a fun example of hyperreality that I recently learned of. There's this Japanese racehorse called Haru Urara. Haru Urara was a racehorse who had a win-loss ratio of 0 to 113. So this racehorse sucked. As soon as Japanese media started picking up on this losing horse, Haru Urara came to mean to the Japanese people almost this indomitable spirit that you'll keep on trying despite failing and failing over and over again. So this horse became this really loved figure in Japan. Now this figure of this horse has become this weird anime girl, this cutesy anime character that just reeks of positivity, always happy, always Genki. This version of Haru is a far cry from the horse. Like, come on, it looks nothing like her.
Look at that horse. The bushy tail, the big teeth, the hooves.
The reality is, this horse was a racehorse. Did it have much of a choice in deciding whether it could compete or not? Probably not. Initially, horse became this immediate representation of indomitable spirit into eventually becoming this cutesy anime type figure. It is no longer a horse. It has taken a life of its own. People's first encounter with this Haru Urara character may in fact only be through the anime. So they might not even see this as a horse. They might not even recognize that there was a horse to begin with. The representation takes over the original. In all seriousness, hyperreality can have serious consequence that goes beyond horse depictions. We may have a certain understanding of what love should be or look like because of what representations we see. We may have an understanding of what it means to be attractive because of the representations we see, but also we can fall into political trappings, like the Make America Great Again campaign. Does that fictionalized representation of, oh, everything was just super great in America, real? It's not a real representation of what America was like back then, especially if you weren't a white male.
So I realized that once people have decided they're going to support an icon, you know, a savior, they're going to double down and keep going with it. I think that a lot of Trump supporters are in denial about how much of a fraud he is.
That fictionalized version of America has a true power over people who voted for Trump.
I would have voted on Trump.
Now, what will life look like if it is completely consumed by the inauthentic?
2084. Bone soap, pubic hair cigs, grass tea. We make do with milk substitute, egg, and sperm substitute, shit substitute. Shit ma ain't got shit to eat round here, not even some jive shit. Haiku. Only the barest few buck naked can afford nothing. I was glee for my wife, kids, and refrigerator, then glee for my own bones. Woo! Beaming happy eyes around a yew tree, last one in the hemisphere, apparently. Was a slipper bath, was an 8-track player, was a lug wrench, was a rear view mirror.
Yet the growing frustration, the growing despair of growing up without a future is something I see a lot, you know, with the younger generation.
Okay, so this poem's title is 2084. We know we're in the future and everything freaking sucks. We don't even have basic shit like eggs or even shit itself. Even the skeet is made of deceit. Nothing in this imagined future is real. Even the most natural things are fake or only have substitutes. And then if you look at the colloquial haiku, which is kind of funny because it's only made a haiku by adding the word haiku at the end, it implies a certain emptiness, but right away followed up. It says only the barest few buck naked can afford nothing. So it seems like we are rich in these substitutes, but they ultimately leave us unfulfilled. If you look at the very end of the poem, you have this line of questioning. What is a slipper bath? What is an 8-track player? What is a lug wrench? What's a rear view mirror? Or I think it's important that it ends with rear view mirror, because this poem is implying, look, the future is going to be terrible, and also we can't even imagine or look back on the rear view mirror a good past. And why is that if we look at this in the hyperreal context? Because everything about our past becomes fictionalized BS, and everything about our future becomes an authentic BS.
Stories make a place. Without stories, there is no place. But without place, there can still be stories. If your stories are not organically grown but imposed on you by those who hate everything about you, then you're virtually dead.
So if we are living where both our past and our future has no basis in reality, we are gonna be in a pubic hair smoking world.
Smoke pubes every day.
Now, before I address the giant anti-Semitic elephant in the room, I want to show how, at one point of time, how both of these artists had a great deal of empathy that made its way into their work.
Isn't that the big joke? The best line at any poetry reading is, "This is my last poem." To flee conjugation, lugging my exploded home, and trampling on my own name, I trek to a yearn for deformation. Imperial chaos hacks flesh, sends the unmeshed towards a capsized horizon. They dream of clean graphic design houses that don't collapse onto cribs. Invaded, the invaded invade the invaders' kitchens, and soon enough bedrooms. Look, they're invading each other. Shut up, smug face. You know nothing of ugliness, even that which you long bankroll.
So in this poem, you have two speakers, one in the beginning, one at the end. So you have this person making these really sharp observations about what the immigrant
and refugee experience
is like. And despite making these astute observations that there is an imperialistic undercurrent behind it, the second speaker immediately points out the hypocrisy of the first speaker. Like, yes, you are observant. Yes, you care about the plight of these migrants. It's like, you don't realize, smugface, shut up.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
That you are also complicit in this. We are stuck in a system that makes us complicit in horrible acts. Look where our taxes go to. We can decry these things, but are we really doing enough by just making these empathetic comments towards these great issues? I want to say that there's even a hyper-awareness here, and a more nuanced form of empathy is infused within the work. And if you look at Kanye West talking about his ultimate artistic goal early on in his career, he used to be able to look at things from the perspective of different people and try to speak to them.
My ultimate goal is to help people. It's like no Stella Award nomination can take away from the impact of what this does for people. When they hear family business, when they hear Through the Wire, if they've been in an accident, when someone whose boyfriend just got locked up for selling drugs because he couldn't find a job and he had three strikes and he had the X on his back, so there was no work opportunities. When she hears drug dealing just to get by, stack your money till it gets sky high. We wasn't supposed to make it past 25. Joke's on you, we still alive. That right there. It's like a family member speaking to them.
It should also be noted that Linh Dinh has done a lot of work for the Vietnamese poetry community by translating a lot of their work into English. And even despite being cancelled, you can see that there is still a certain appreciation for what his past self did. Now look how far they've fallen from this. From their words and actions, they almost seem heartless.
To be so heartless. How could you be so heartless?
Now, what are the dumb and idiotic views that Lin and Kanye have fallen into?
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler.
I am an evil person.
But, as far as the final solution, there is literally no evidence for it. Racial differences. Okay, we're all different, okay? And a lot of it is genetic. I've written about this, that, so-called racism as its foundation, basically self-love. And it's not just the American military. A lot of times it's the Jews.
Now look at Linh Dinh's books that came out after he was canceled. Kafka, Anti-Semite and Other Artsy-Fartsy Essays, Masks, Lockdowns, Travel Bans, and Jew Jabs as Global Snuff Film, Tongued by Satan, Casa N-Word Saga, Teaching Mein Kampf at Tel Aviv University. Both of these artists' hateful views are inescapable now in their work. It's like they are actively trying to stoke controversy and actively be in your face about it. Push these hateful thoughts and views into their art. And it's making their art all the worse for it. Vultures 2, unlistenable. Terrible. That new song he put out that was called Hail Hitler awful. And it's not even the first Hitler rap song, it's derivative. And it's sad, because if you do read portions of his new work, you can see very brief flashes of brilliance. But then once you get that slight interesting observation, he writes about Jewy government, Jew media, Jew jabs. It's inescapable. Every single page in the book is gonna have something mentioning Jews. And it's just stupid. Just like when you hear Kanye West making a new beat, you're like, oh wow, he could possibly bring it back. He still has some of that old creative charge. Then he says something really stupid about reading Mein Kampf or something before going to bed. And it sucks to see that these people who were aware of superficiality would fall to the superficial lies about how Jews are the cause of a lot of the bad things in the world and refuse to see the authentic. And hate can only beget hate. Linh Dinh actually found himself in the Leopards Ate My Face party because he was writing for an alt-right journal at one point in time, and he ended up leaving because of the hate, bigotry, and very insulated demographics and viewpoints.
That's why I finally say enough of uns, man. I mean, these people are insane and they are so stupid. Some of them attack me for being jealous of whites. I mean, they didn't even read the article, okay? Or they read it so badly. They routinely do this. They do not read my article, and they just attack me. Or use goop. So, these are the people I'm writing for. But why? Look at how stupid they are. Look at how disgusting they are. They can call one of their writers a goop and get away with it. He has to realize something is wrong when his forum is dominated by assholes, okay? Because blacks don't comment there, Orientals don't comment there, and very few women comment there. What is he doing that encourages such an ugly demographics?
But instead of a light bulb going off like, wow, maybe I'm the bad guy now.
Are we the baddies?
Or I'm hanging around people that are terrible. He's like, no, they suck too, everyone sucks. Spiraled further and further into isolation and into hatred. Kanye West and Linh Dinh now both exiling themselves to Asia. When I reminisce on the great Kanye songs of old, or the funny, clever, and impactful works of Linh Dinh, I can't help but think about what John Legend said when talking about the sad state of current Kanye West.
Said some very, disappointing things about me. A lot more disappointing things about other people, about Jewish people, about black people. I find where he is now very sad and disappointing and pretty alien from the person I knew at the beginnings of our career. And it's just been sad to see what's happened. I'm so grateful for what we did creatively and so grateful for what he contributed to the world creatively that it makes it all the more tragic to see where he is now. I wish he would understand that and know that he could be so much better and contribute so much light and creative energy to the world. I wish he could tap back into that. And whatever this hate and bitterness he has in his heart, if he could find a way to cleanse himself of that and get back to making the world a more beautiful and interesting place, it would be great.
I think it's such a tragedy that both Kanye and Linh Dinh have gone down this hateful path. And it is especially ironic that these people who seem to be aware of hyperreality and superficiality would fall into this superficialness because of their hate. So I hope Kanye West and Linh Dinh's life can serve as a reminder that we can all fall for superficiality in the hyperreal, even if we have a certain awareness of it. Be authentic, search for real experiences, and I hope hate never becomes your authentic self.
Okay, so here we go. Dừng chân trên bến khi chiều nắng chiếu phai, nhìn xa thấp thoáng muôn tà áo tung bay, nếp sông vui tươi nối chân nhau đến nơi này. Sài Gòn đẹp lắm, Sài Gòn ơi, Sài Gòn ơi.
Thank you for watching Poetry Taught Poorly. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. I thank you guys for sticking around and watching. I actually had to do a career transition, and I'm going to be moving to a new place soon, so the studio is going to be looking a little bit different next time around. But thank you again for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.